this, to turn on isolation, the first time you turn it on, just do it again. This will blink, this just means it's trying to balance it, and then we'll see a solid.
So is there an order to or how you do things?
No, it doesn't matter.
So it doesn't
These are
matter.
totally independent, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, so now it's active vibration isolation, and then the switch for the controller is here. Yeah. Okay, then, but it is important, you have to turn on the controller before you start the software.
Okay.
And let me show you what happens if you'll get an error if you don't do it that order. So let me just start the software. Without the controller on, you get an error that says software started in simulation mode.
All right.
Can't communicate. It also almost started instantly. So you just need to close the software down again.
Is that like offline analysis software?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's working like, but it's not controlling the machine, but you can analyze it.
Yep.
All right.
And this you can download from our website, and on all your computers you can put it
You
on
can
there.
you
Yep.
can download. It's the same software.
The same exact software.
All right. What's the name of the software?
It's
Software.
Core AFM, but you can download the other ones, and it'll also open our files. All of them open our.
Do they like refresh when you guys have do you have new versions or?
We do. We put a new one out every quarter.
Right,
New,
so-
but you have to. It won't tell you there's a new version. You have to check.
check. I
Yeah.
guess.
I think if there's a major release, we'll send out an email.
All right.
And you can sign up for our emails list or whatever. So anyway, this turn on first. You gotta wait around 10 seconds for it to boot, essentially. And if this takes longer than a second to load, that's done correctly.
Oh yeah. And you
Yeah.
said like it was almost automatic.
Instant, yeah. So now it's they're communicating, they're talking, and actually it will check the firmware on here, make sure it's running correctly. Okay. Okay, so now the first thing we hear is the approach motor going to its home position. So it's making sure we're in a safety position. It's going all the way down. That's what we're hearing right now. So this center part is just going down.
So it's moving right now.
Yep.
It's like kind of initializing the thing
Yep.
or something.
It's going to the lowest position, the home position.
All right.
Okay.
And that happens as soon as the software
Exactly.
is like kind
And
of
it won't let you do anything until it goes to the home position, because it has to check the limit switch. So it has to make sure it can see it and that everything's working. So it's kind of a initialization. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. This is a default how it loads. We can change what loads at the beginning, just the settings. I can show you how to do that. I think I went in the demo. I kind of showed you the parts of it. So here on the top is where we set the kind of mode that we want. If you're imaging in air or liquid, you could select that. So really, when you start, you would start here and go down and say, all right, air, liquid. This is the mode.
Static force is.
Contact mode.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have little different names. This is tapping mode, phase contrast,
All right.
force modulation. This is a conductive AFM, and then lateral force.
Static force.
Yep.
Force is contact mode. You said.
Yeah. We just, because it's a constant force, right? So
Yeah.
static force.
I thought I was actually doing.
Yeah. Because some of this, like tapping mode, for example, is trademarked by Bruker. So
Oh, that's why I.
So we can't use tapping mode. But
That's dumb. It's like, how
Yeah.
do you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Dynamic. Force. It's tapping mode.
Yep. And then what we want to do next is set the cantilever that we have
All right.
loaded. This is the default one for this parameter file, which I don't know why it loads this one, but I'll change that.
Default. Flex. What is flex?
Flexes are, it's the same scanner and controller, but it's a different configuration, and it's slightly different, so what I wanna do is this, and I wanna make sure,
It's saved like that, right?
yeah, and I won't spend any time right now doing it, but before I go, I'll make sure that that always loads. Okay, so you have, yeah, where you select the mode, and then the cantilever, and we can change these.
Yeah.
If you don't have this cantilever, you can load another one, whatever.
So is that the one that's loaded currently?
Actually,
Or-
it's not, no.
So we're gonna have
Yeah,
to change.
we're gonna have to change it. So, here in the on the right are some of the parameters that are relevant to this mode, to that mode, the imaging parameters here. Underneath it is the feedback parameters for the controller, and then extra parameters based on it. So in this case, we can apply voltage to the tip if we wanted to, etc. Here's where the channels will go, different channels for imaging, for the Z height or topography, some error channels, and any extra channels based on the mode. So they will go here. On the right we'll have a series of tabs for different settings and things like that. So right now this is set to video here. But you have tabs for monitoring signals, individual signals, looking at what the scan looks like, taking a look at all the images that we've already recorded, the gallery settings, and then different tools. Each of these can actually be
On
removed,
its own
and
separate
we can
window.
put them on, we could stack them, or we can, stack them, or put them on a separate. If you had another monitor, you can put them all at once, so they're all open, etc.
We should get a second monitor.
Well, after the approach, you really don't need the camera that much, do you?
Yeah,
No,
no,
you don't.
no.
You can have the gallery over there up
Yep.
and
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times when you select a tool here, it'll switch to this automatically, so you see what you're doing.
okay. But yeah, it would be nice.
Like the monitoring signal is nice. Like you can take a look at the deflection, and you can look at all the channels and see what's going on. It's a nice way to make sure things are working correctly. And you can always have this running with the camera or so forth.
Okay.
So to get to all these tabs, if you go here to this view on top, you have also, sometimes they won't be they'll disappear, so let me actually close this. So now it's gone from here, and you're like, alright, how do I get the camera back? So you have to go to view and video, and then it's back.
I see.
Okay, so on the right will be this tab, and this can be made smaller or bigger. You can move it around. Okay, then the next, so this is all in the acquisition tab. The next is if we go to analysis, then these are tabs here on the top. I can click analysis, and now I can do some tools of measuring step heights, roughness, things like that. The next tab here is settings.
Can you do analysis while you're acquiring image?
Yep, absolutely.
You can do it the same.
So, and it'll analyze whatever's in any of these channels.
Alright.
So I can, while we're imaging, I can show you how to do that.
No, I mean on a previously recorded
Oh, yeah.
image.
So we can always go here to gallery.
Yeah.
Let's just open this one
And
that I took
it-
earlier.
This is still going.
This is still going in the background.
Okay.
We can unpin it here,
Oh, I see.
and now I can do things like, let's say, create cross section
Yeah.
of data. So,
Right. Because imaging, it's kind of time consuming, so
oh
you
yeah,
have to do
yeah,
stuff.
absolutely. Yeah, you can do that. Our software's pretty good. It can do some basic things for analysis. So if you're interested in step heights or roughness, but it can do that right there. But I would use, I don't know if you use Gwydion. I would use that instead. It has much more robust
That's
feature set.
also free,
Free.
right?
Yeah,
Gwydion's
and
free.
it's already installed here on this PC. So you can run that here later. The next tab is settings. For the most part, you probably won't have to do anything here, but two things I wanted to point out is if there's ever you run into some error or problem, and I ask you, could you send me the log? Right here, this is where you would get it. So it's settings, you can do show log panel, there. And then this will basically have all the instructions right in there. You can save that file and send it to me. That might be something I ask for. It happens once a year that I ask someone to send me a log file.
Yeah.
But another, and then the second thing I want to mention in this interface or in this tab is this calibration button here. So if you ever change this computer, swap it out for a new one, or something happens to it and you have to reinstall the software, it's very important that you transfer the header file or the calibration file from this computer onto the new one. If you lose it or whatever, you can just email us, any of us, and we'll send you a new copy if you misplace it. It's also on the CD, which I put here, the installation CD. There's a copy of the header file.
Is there a way we can download the header file and like save it on the cloud or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we should
So-
probably do that on the team drive.
So, if you if you install it on a system that doesn't have it, what'll happen is that it'll say down here, uncal core AFM, something like that. And so what you need to do is open calibration, and then you'll click load here. And then if you install from the CD, it'll automatically copy it to this directory. But it doesn't have to be in this directory, it can be in the cloud or whatever you want. And this is the file 7918036, which corresponds to the serial number on your system, which you need to load. Yeah, so if you didn't, it'll load this uncal core AFM. It'll run, but what'll happen, obviously the range will be wrong, X, Y, the Z heights will be wrong. And in some cases, the laser won't turn on.
Oh.
So, I haven't tested it with this, but if you start the software and the laser doesn't turn on, just check down here, see that the serial number is there, and then, or not. So yeah, just select it, press open, and OK. And then it'll reload all the calibration settings. But yeah, you can store it on a network drive. And the last one is view. This is what I just showed you before, to access the actual tools tabs. Okay. So let's start with just basic imaging, and we'll start with contact mode. And I'll start with mounting a cantilever and aligning a laser. That's probably the most difficult part. So, oh, I forgot to talk about your tool set. So this is the tool set with the extra holders and so forth. There's one missing that was going to come in a separate shipment, and that's for the environmental enclosure. So that's not here right now, and we'll ship it when it's ready.
How does it look? It's just like
It's a ring that will go around this.
all right.
It's a ring, and then there's a piece that will screw in right here, and you can next time I come, hopefully if it comes, I can just install it.
All right.
It's a
And
ring here.
Do they
and then
have like hoses or space that you can change?
there's spaces for the hoses, but it doesn't come with the tubing.
All
I
right.
mean, it's up to you, I guess, what you want to,
Okay.
perfusion or
Yeah.
CO2 or whatever it is. But I'll have the holes for it.
The holes for them.
Yeah, and the gaskets. So it's like a ring
Yeah.
that goes around here. It's maybe about this tall,
Mm-hmm.
and then it has little holes that you can stick things into.
Okay.
And that works with this, and that's our standard holder. But probably what you were interested in using is the Petri dish holder.
Okay.
So this you would set smaller Petri dishes, not the full
Yeah, yeah,
ones
yeah.
there. And then you can clamp them down. This somehow. Yeah, it clamps down. and then that ring would go around here, and then I can perfuse, and the tubing goes into here, and I can perfuse in and out.
I see.
And this
are
has a
there
built-in heater, so
special
if
hot-
you have a
Oh,
Warner
that's
heater,
nice.
it will connect to
That's
this.
really nice. Cause I
it's-
don't think the Brooker one that I was using, and they didn't have a heated stage.
Yeah, so this is designed for keeping cells alive and things like that, so.
That's awesome.
A Warner single channel is all you need, and it has spaces for the sensor. You have to put one in the liquid, so one will go inside, and then there's other ones for the, I'm not really exactly sure, but.
That's great. No, that's great. I'm doing temperature and dependence, you know.
Yeah, then with the environmental enclosure, you can put pour CO2 in there, so keep
Yeah.
the pH right.
Yeah. So you make those cells really happy.
Yeah.
There's some,
So that was my question. Are there special petri dishes? Like, do they have a special height like this?
yeah, so they're a little more shallow
Yeah.
than standard.
All right.
They have to be less than 9 millimeters.
Okay.
Now, okay, so that's if they're gonna be on a glass bottom. But if you had a material that's a lot higher, it's just that the amount of liquid you can have is not more than 9 millimeters.
All right.
You know, okay, so if you had a petri dish, a regular petri dish that had really high sidewalls, and you lifted the sample off the bottom half a centimeter, then you can still go down there. It's usually the cells you wanna
Yeah.
grow them on the glass, and then so
Yeah.
you
yeah,
need
yeah.
9 millimeters only. And I'm not gonna show you why that's important in a second. You have different mode kits here that come with it. Static mode kit, which is just a calibration grating. Dynamic mode is a piece of DVD. This actually came with your the bio holder, and it's just 3 cantilevers to use in liquid that have gold backside. What is this? Oh, conductive mode is a piece of HOPG,
Mm.
just to test conductive mode, and this is phase contrast, so this is a polymer blend, which is, you guys probably can pronounce it better than I can, it's SBS, polystyrene and
Yeah.
something.
But you call the conductive mode just the sample itself? I don't.
It's the sample,
And
so
you need a
it's,
probe, right,
it's
that
2
you
things.
goes-
The conductive mode is actually the conductive holder,
Yeah.
and we give you
Oh,
a
I
sample to
see.
test it, and it
Alright.
has also 3 cantilevers to use with that.
I see.
Mhm.
Okay.
So
So it's the holder as
The
well.
holder itself.
Yeah.
So you have, so then there's other things, so standard holder, tweezers,
Mhm.
laser alignment tool, which this is a 1.5 mil,
No, no.
1.5 millimeter
Millimeter.
hex key. So if you lose this, just get a 1.5 millimeter one. It just needs to be a little longer.
That's awesome. Like the metric system.
Yeah. And then there's this plate, and this plate is used if you're gonna do conductive mode. So what happens is that this isn't actually connected to the grounding wire. So what
Okay.
you need but these are. So what we need to do is place this underneath here, and then the sample
Create the
goes on top.
connection. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's all. And then here is a place to ground the sample to the scan head, to connect for conductive AFM.
Alright. Do you need to ground it like in any other modes?
Isn't that what you're saying, that it's better to ground it? 'Cause
If
it's
there's
like
some
the
electrical
waves?
interference, sometimes you'll see it, you might see a repeating something, some noise.
Yeah, like a noise that it's very
Yeah,
periodic.
and if you took the look at the Fourier transform, it might be like at 60 hertz or 50 hertz, and then, oh, that's the lights
Alright.
flickering, or some power system.
Mm.
Sometimes if you have a pump running, like a turbo pump,
Or.
yeah,
Oh, crap. Yeah. Cause
Yeah.
we turn
Just
on the,
thinking about that,
yeah,
you have a
Oh,
machine
the-
shop there.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe that will, I mean, if you're interested in things that are below a nanometer in step height, so graphene flakes, then you might have a little bit of noise, but
Yeah.
above that, you won't notice. So, okay, so then we have two holders. A flat conductive one here, and this is your standard air liquid holder.
Oh.
You can use it in air too.
Both of
It
them.
works for both. There's no
Mhm.
anything special for using in liquid. Now, I don't know if you can tell the difference between the two. So, let's say you pull them out and, I don't know, you had them
forget
both
to
out
put
and
it
you
back.
forget which one's which. So I'll
Can't
show
tell.
you how to tell the difference. So, the 9 millimeters is the length, is this, the height of this.
Mhm.
Meaning if you had liquid that's longer, it's
Yeah,
1
it's
centimeter,
gonna
it'll get
the
inside here, and
contacts,
then
right.
the shake piezo's in there, so that's
Destroyed.
yeah. So so let's look at the conductive one. The way to tell. Oh, actually, now we've made it easier. Okay, there's a white dot in the front. Okay, that's easy. But another way to tell is if you look here, there's a connection right there
In
that will
between.
that will connect this front pin to the volt. So this connects this pin to the back of the cantilever. So that allows an electrical connection to go through.
Okay.
We didn't used to put that white thing on there, but now that's
Okay.
easier. And if you look on this one, that's open there.
Can
Yeah.
you put it
Yeah, let's
again?
take a
So
look.
so here it's there's those two parallel things, and there's
Yeah.
nothing, no solder connecting the two.
Right.
Now on this, it's there's a piece of solder connecting those two. So it's silver there.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Plus, there is that.
The white
the
pin.
white dot. Yeah. That's new for us. So I actually that's the first time I've seen that.
That's just a dot, or.
Yeah, it'll have a
As
white
in-
dot saying it's conductive on the front.
Cool. All right. Okay. So that has no purpose other than.
Other than a marker.
All right.
Okay. And then these are your sets of sample cantilevers. There's some for tapping mode and some for